do you know what I need?
Okay, we're live on Facebook according to my screen, so that's exciting.
Great. Okay, so give me 1 second now. So hello there, everybody, whoever is going to join us live. This is Martha Fraser. I'm an online business mentor and coach and the founder of the Shine Adventure online program to help you expand your business online. And I am with Kerry Manning, who is a branding expert. And I'm going to let her introduce herself in a second, actually, if you don't mind, Kerry. And I just want to make sure that we're live on Facebook and that you're joining us. So today and the next couple of days, we're doing how to make a brand. And Kerry is using me as her guinea pig, which I don't know how this is going to work. I may regret it by the end of the week, but it's going to be fun. So it's teaching through making a brand. There we are, we're live. Okay, and we have a viewer. Okay, good stuff. So we're live. Okay, good stuff. Kerry, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Well, my name is Kerry Manning, and I have been working in marketing for over 30 years, which just makes me far too old. But I love the process of marketing, and one of the core concepts of marketing is brand. And so as I'm not working full time anymore, I decided I'm going to specialize and do what I absolutely love, and that's branding. So I work with people to distill their own personal brand, and to, once they have distilled it, to use it to draw customers to them, to ultimately get more sales. Because I think that if we have clarity of our brand and we know exactly who we are, it's so much easier to then go out with a product or an offering and get loads of people to come back and buy from you. So that's what I do. And we're going to have a little experiment. I work as a one-to-one coach with people. And so I'm going to be working with Martha as my one-to-one for the next couple of days. And we're going to see how far we get in getting a brand together.
Okay, I'm quite nervous about this. Really. Just give people a little bit of a background. So I suppose I've been working the 5-6 years in online, and my brand has kind of morphed and organically grown. And really, the last 2 years, I have Project The Shine Adventure, and then I had my personal website, Martha Fraser. And I had Martha Fraser at one stage, it was black and gold. And then The Shine Adventure was blue and this gorgeous kind of a yellow orange. And I was just, I just realized, I said, oh my God, my brand is all over the place. I need to get my shit together. Excuse me. This is over 18s live. Get my stuff together, and just really, I wanted my brand to be more coherent in everything that I did. So that is why we're here today. So I'm in the middle of actually redoing my website. So I thought, what better time to do this than now? And there happens to be this fabulous lady that I know that is a branding expert. So hey, let's put them together and make some magic.
Well, Martha, I'm so glad that you brought up the colors, because this is where things go awry, because people think of brand and they think of colors, and they think of, say, if they're thinking of McDonald's, they think of the golden arches, and people think of color and stuff as being their brand. And that's only really the icing on the cake. So I'm going to start by just running through kind of where I see brand and the basics of brand. And as we were discussing, today will be a little bit more talking, and then we're going to have some exercises. I know Martha will set up a link for people to sign up, and then they can get the exercises to go through. So if my favorite subject is chocolate, because I think it's just a wonderful product. So what I always say to people when we're talking about brand is, if Cadbury's or whatever other chocolate company want to launch a new chocolate, okay, the first thing they figure out is how they're going to brand that chocolate, okay? Because if you look at chocolates, on the ingredients of all the chocolates, really it's much the same. It's cocoa butter and cocoa solids and sugar, milk solids. All the chocolates have similar ingredients, but when you go into a shop, there is a Kit Kat, and there's Rebels, and there's Lindt, and there's Ferrero Rocher, and there's this, and there's that. And they're all ultimately the same thing, but they don't appeal to us in the same way. And this is really the core essence of brand. So there's a couple of tests, and we'll put some up in Martha's page, where you can try and figure out what your brand archetype is. Now, there's loads of different brand archetypes. And the thing is that if I am Mr. Chocolate Manufacturer, I can say, okay, I am going to develop a chocolate for a ruler archetype. For somebody, it's an aspirational brand, whatever. So I always have my bag of chocolates next to me. You must think I'm completely crazy. So we're looking at Lindt, and Lindt is it's a premium brand. It's branded to look like a premium. The whole packaging is put together. And this is kind of where the colors come in the end of it. Okay. It's very thin chocolate. And if I look in my bag and I see what else I can find, and I can find the Kinder Bueno, okay, it's a completely different brand.
I'm falling over after this.
And this would be the carer, more somebody who's a carer. They're buying it because they think it's a better chocolate for their children to eat. So this is the starting point of everything. And I have more chocolates in the bag as well. So as this is an over 18 show, how do people sell flake? They sell it with the sex appeal of it. It's how it melts in your mouth and how you'd have it, after a little romantic moment. And what we're talking about, especially entrepreneurs who are selling themselves as the product. If I can put it that way. Yes, you may have some products within your brand, but ultimately for many solo entrepreneurs, we are the product. So therefore we have to brand ourselves. So unlike chocolate, where chocolate, they decide on a brand and then brand it, we have certain personality types. We have certain ways that we are, and you can't change who you are completely. So one of the things I do is that I'll ask you this question. At school, you had certain teachers. So you had a teacher that maybe was the cool teacher that you could go and talk to, and you had the teacher that was the bitch, and you had the teacher that was the stricter teacher. Those were their brands, if you think about it like that. So it may have not been a conscious thing. And although personal branding it's become a little bit of a buzzword, actually, we've always had a personal brand. If you think back to the teachers, that was their brand. Okay. So if you had to think for a minute, what would you say this is a two-part question, and this is where the fun starts. What would you say your brand is?
What is my brand?
Describe it in a couple of words. What do you think your brand is?
Okay. I guess two of my core values is fun and ease. And I suppose fun, ease, adventure, independence, and freedom. I suppose my reason for creating my business was that I could be an independent mum. I could be a mum and work and not limit my income by the hours I worked. So I suppose an inspiration in a way for other mums, perhaps, to know that it's possible to be able to be a mum.
And if you had to put yourself into a chocolate, what chocolate would you be?
Oh, I'd be green and black, 70% cocoa.
Okay, but you see that I love this, because your chocolate brand is not who you are.
Right.
The way you describe yourself as fun, ease, adventure, independent.
I'm probably more like a bag of Skittles.
You took the words right out of my mouth. At this point in time, I'm a bag of Rebels, just in case you want to know, because you never know my friends, etc., would tell you the same. You never know what you're going to get every time you put your hand in the bag. So I'm very creative. I have a very creative brand, and so Rebel suits me fine. I'm not going to try. I'd put you at Skittles, but maybe Smarties or M&Ms or something like that, which are fun, ease, adventure, independence, etc. And this brings me to the next kind of point on brand, and that's the difference between brand identity, okay, and brand insistence. And this is really, really important, because, and this is going to head towards our homework and where we're going to pick up tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So if you look at brand identity, that's who you want to be known as. That's who you're going to brand yourself. If you want to be known as the person who is fun, ease, adventurous. And we're going to figure out if that is what you want to be known as.
And that's true as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brand insistence is how other people perceive you. Okay, so I've known you for a couple of years now. And as much as I know that you're a fun and adventurous kind of person, I see you as quite a serious businesswoman. I see you as somebody that's quite determined to be successful, a kind, caring person that wants to bring other people along the journey. Okay, but as an outsider looking in, that's the brand insistence. What do people think of your brand? What do they think of you? And where you have absolute brand clarity is when you get the two things joining up perfectly. So, for example, if we look at Hillary Clinton, she tried very hard to brand herself, but because of the damage that had happened to her brand in the Bill years, etc., there was always this dissonance between brand identity and brand insistence. So that's why she didn't get elected to an extent, because people didn't really believe her brand.
Yes. They had their own view.
And when your brand is so strong and clear and you have this absolute clarity as to what your brand is, then people believe it. And there's this it's almost like the law of attraction comes into play, and people are drawn to you because of your brand. And, you know, there can be somebody in the next street doing exactly what I do, but people are going to be drawn to me because they get me. I'm very kind of like a bag of rebels. I'm very bold. I'm very upfront. I'll say it like it is. I'm a little bit blunt, which is a positive and a negative.
I think that's quite good when you're a coach, to be honest.
Sure, but somebody else might not be able to handle that, and they're going to rather go to somebody who's got a more softly approach. So it's about being very clear as to who you are and making sure that there's this absolute joined up thinking between what people think you are, what you want to be, and who you are. So it's almost kind of like three circles. So we know that you're fun, you live a life of ease, that doesn't come across in your brand.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. The fun part does, and there's nothing to say that we can't create and craft a brand that incorporates all of the essence of you, and blends it with that green and black 70%.
Yeah.
Which is,
and I think, to be honest, I suppose when I'm in work mode, I am quite serious. I am quite analytical, logical, and putting a lot of stuff together. And I suppose because I work with SMEs, but I also I work with solopreneurs, but I also work with small businesses. So there's kind of a fine line in creating this fun adventure thing when, you know, you're working with business, they want to see a professional, you know, I suppose presentation of who that person is that they're going to hire, you know. So yeah, I love that idea of blending the two parts.
You know, maybe we can end up having you as the Lint sweet chili, which is the kind of crazy adventure type within a ruler brand, a very serious brand, a bit of sageness in that brand.
Yes.
You know, I gave Martha a couple of weeks ago, I gave her a little test to do on the internet, which we can link up the test. And it was really, really funny because this test brings you, it kind of does personality, according to Jung, it does personality archetyping. And depending on who you are, it might give you 3 at 80 or 100%. And you need to read those and look at the negatives and the positives, because the negatives of your brand, the negatives of your personality and the negatives of your brand are actually to some extent more important than the positives, because if you can harness the negatives. So one of the negatives that came up in my own personal exercise of branding was this bluntness. So I've kind of harnessed it. My mentor, she's been such a significant person in my life, and she is she's a mentor to me, but we've been friends since we were 5 years old. And we all grew up with, she is stubborn. She's a Taurian and she is stubborn, and they know she hasn't changed. But what she's done is she's flipped the stubborn into determination.
Yes.
And she's achieved a huge amount in her life through pure determination. So that's kind of what it is. So let's go back and ask you now to go back and ask those questions that I asked you the first time. Just give me a description of your brand.
Okay.
But before, I'm going to clarify one before you get started. We're working on your business brand.
Yeah.
So your business brand, let's talk about that.
Okay. I suppose business brand would be, oh gosh, this is so hard to do this live. So business brand would be, I suppose, logical, I suppose brand. I'm trying to think now. Brand. What do I want to be seen as? I suppose because of my own business. So someone who is presenting projects, who can take a project from start to finish. Someone who is competent, determined to get results. I don't know if this is what you're looking for.
I'm writing away here. I'll come back to you in a minute.
Okay. Someone, so that's kind of projects. Someone who is knowledgeable, trustworthy and honest. So I suppose knowledge with experience and with qualifications, I suppose. In fact, I suppose
What about the techie side of Martha?
Yeah, so I mean, I have a degree in computer science and maths. That I suppose a lot of people don't know. Yeah, so I love connecting systems. Like, I get super stoked when I have to put stuff together. And so in a way, it's creative. So when I'm creating someone's online business, that is really to see it produced in the end and to see everything connected with, I just think that is amazing. That techie stuff depresses other people, whereas it does light me up a little bit, so yeah. So I think is that what you were asking, the tech?
It's brilliant. I mean, to tell everyone else, I don't know, as a coach, I write notes throughout all my calls. I think it just comes back from being in school, and most of the time I don't need to refer back to the notes, but it's just the way I work. And we had 4 or 5 quick words when we asked the question first time. Now I have half a page written.
Yeah.
And it just shows. And the other thing I think it's very, very important is, like, we take it back to the chocolates. What differentiates, like, the big thing at the moment is the percentage of cocoa solids in a chocolate. Okay, so what's going to make your chocolate stand out to your particular market? So if I am a very, very healthy person and I'm trying to cut out chocolate, but I need chocolate in my life, things like the fact that my chocolate may be raw chocolate, or it may be 70%, or maybe even 80% cocoa solids, those are things that are going to make my chocolate jump off the shelf to that particular person. Okay. If you need a quick hit, you're working the whole day, you go into the shop. One of the chocolates that I use often is a Kit Kat, and it's called the Everyman brand because it suits every person. You go in the chocolate, you can pick it up and it fills a gap. Okay. But as a business person, you want your chocolate to be a little bit niche and a little bit stand out. So, and one of the things we'll be doing this week, I've got a little program. Obviously, in 4 days, you can't do a whole program, but I've got a little program planned out for the 4 week, for the 4 days. And it's very important that you figure out, and we'll go through it. I think it's tomorrow. I have it planned to go through the marketing wheel. And this is a little model that I've worked out for my business. And it's very important, who are your customers? So if we take it back to the chocolate situation, and then we'll take it back to the Martha situation. If I've got a raw food chocolate that has never been heated over 40%, et cetera, it's got high cocoa solids, and it's got chia seeds in it. Just no such chocolate exists, but I just made it up. Okay. So I know that I'm targeting the people on paleo. I'm targeting the people that are raw foodists, the vegans. Those are the people I'm targeting as my customer. So I can actually charge $3.50 for a bar of chocolate like that, as compared to €1 for a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Because it's who I'm targeting. And I'm going to make sure that on my actual branding, when we get to the things like the colors and stuff like that, I'm not going to be using Skittles branding for my chocolate, because it's not how it kind of fits in together.
Yes.
Okay. So now we go back to Martha, and we have this businesswoman she's independent still, but she's logical. She gets into the job, she follows it through. She's highly knowledgeable. Her point of differentiation is she's the coach or the business mentor that has the tech ability that's actually going to help you through your weaknesses. So like tech is not a strength of mine. I'm quite techy in your league. Do you know what I mean? So she's honest. She'll tell it like it is, but she'll get you from point A to point B. So that's the messaging. And the messaging is as much part of the brand and the content. And I haven't put content on this program, but we'll talk about it to an extent as we go through. Just drop my pen. We'll find another one. So we've now got a whole lot of different words to describe you. So now the brand is starting to twist a little bit. Now, I'm not saying you've got to lose your gold and your blue or anything else like that, but you might change it up a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
I think the true Martha brand is probably somewhere between the black and gold, because you still have the fun, the adventurous side. That's a huge part of who you are. So it's finding the common ground between the two.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, it's very interesting. I like this. Yeah.
Oh, good. I think at this point in time, I just want to run through some of the components of a brand, because I think that as we said, we start to think of brand and they think of the Nike tick and they think of the McDonald's arches or the lint gold writing, the lint gold bunny. They think of those things without thinking of things. So your brand, the content of your brand, if we go from the most surface level of it, okay, your colors, etc., are part of your brand. Your photograph that you put online is part of your brand. And the fonts and all that, that's a very small part of it. I'd say it's maybe like 20% at the top, okay? But all the other things that go towards building a brand and go towards telling who you are, the content that you put out.
Yeah.
The content that you put out needs to be completely in synchronicity with your brand values. So you have your brand values as well. That's part of it. Your brand values, the content that you put out, the message that you put out.
Okay.
That's all part of the brand. Now, by doing this, you might cut some people out. Like my brand is quite feminine, although I do have male people that I work with, but my brand is quite feminine. And that's okay. I've made that decision and I've gone with it. And then, of course, one of the big things is who is your target customer? And that's something I know you've discussed many times yourself, but having that clarity. And when you have the clarity of brand, the right customers will come to you.
Yes, yeah.
Because you have that absolute...
Excuse me.
You have that. You have to watch the time. Somebody has to watch the time. I'll talk for hours.
24. Okay, yeah, we're good.
But it's having that absolute clarity. So one of the things that we do, like in the personal branding coaching, is we work on things like your profile, from your 140 profile, your elevator pitch. So I meet you in an elevator and you say to me, I help people get their business online, da 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 da. That's absolutely fine. But there's not...
There needs to be a twist.
There needs to be a twist. What is the difference? Do you want to bring in the adventurous and the fun side of getting people online? Or do you want to get, in fact, like, this is a business. I'll get in there. I'll get you sorted. Yes, you'll pay me. But then you'll be away and your business will be running. And it doesn't have to change the fact that you're very friendly and approachable, but it is about getting the message across. So your messaging is huge. It's a huge part of the process.
Yeah.
So brand is a lot more than just what people think brand is.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, like, if we take Nike, for example, Nike, I watched a program on Netflix the other day where they were talking to one of the shoe designers and how they go through the process of shoe designing, how they get people in, sports people, to endorse the brand. Now, we're talking big branding here.
Yeah.
But it's all important. Just very interesting thing. Look at Netflix. brand of Netflix, and look at Kit Kat and look at the brand.
Yeah, very
similar they are.
Yeah, very, very simple.
Because they're the everyman brand. They want to market this thing that everyone in the world wants to be on Netflix.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So they're not going for it.
I did actually look at the logo last night. I was putting it on, and it has struck me how simple their first page is, like just red Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think some people, in an effort, it's very exciting, and this is something we can touch on as we go through the week as well. It's very exciting that we have products like Canva and PicMonkey, etc., which allow us to work on our own brand. But I think that for many people, what it lands up doing is it lands up overcomplicating the visual brand. Because we have all these things at our disposal. So all of a sudden we can do all these things.
Yeah.
What you really want to aim for is that if you put a piece of content up on Facebook, and to an extent you do this very well, I know straight away it's a Martha thing. Straight away I think, oh God, that's Martha Fraser. I know, and I'm going to look at it because I know your message and I know what you're saying.
Yeah. And it's funny, bold, the word bold just came into mind there. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so knowing now that our brand is more than just our fonts and our colors, and it's our message and our brand values and our photo and our content and what we put out there. So where do we go from here now that we've got that far?
Okay, so what I would like you to do is I'd like you to do a little bit of homework for me. And normally I'm doing this over a program, so you have a whole week to do your homework. So I won't put a lot of homework because you have to have it done by 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay. If you can, I want you to come up with 5 words you feel describe you. So to an extent, we've done this already: fun, ease, adventure, independence. But maybe think about it again in terms of the business, and only 5 words. I want you to limit it to 5 words.
Okay.
I want you to ask one of your clients, somebody that you can trust, to be very honest with you.
Okay.
For 5 words to describe you.
Okay, I think I'll jump into my mastermind group there and ask them.
And one person that's in your family or a really good friend. So take those 3 aspects, 3 different aspects. Because I think that before we move forward, and there's quite a lot, I've made some notes of what we're going to be doing every day, but before we move too much forward, we need to make sure that your brand essence, the exact Martha brand essence, we're very, very clear on.
Okay.
And that. We don't even have to discuss these words on the video. You can always just give me a text or anything like that. But you need to, and those words that you put together, plus the words that we've spoken about today, okay, those words will give you the beginning of your elevator pitch. They'll give you the beginning of your brand message. Those words, I love words, and a lot of people know I've got groups, word of the year groups, and writing a book about words. I love words, but words they're the core of everything.
Yes.
So the words might end up with your brand slogan. Those words might bring out your brand slogan. Maybe we head towards something like Martha will take you on your online adventure. So we bring in what's there, what exists. So adventure is a big word for you. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, when you did the brand test, that came up as well. Exploring and adventuring.
Yes, it did actually. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So, maybe we want to take that along, but we want to bring in some of the other things that make you stand out, the things that make you differentiate you from all the other coaches that are out there. The fact that you will ensure that a project gets from beginning to completion on deadline, on time. Because those are the things. I know I'm calling you a coach, I shouldn't, because you're far different to a coach. You're more like a mentor, and you're very practical, and that's all part of who you are. I call myself, although I do coaching, I call myself a brand specialist.
Yeah.
Because my practice is a bit more consulting and coaching, so it's just different.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I call myself a coach, a mentor, and The reason I do that is that I suppose a mentor will show you the path they've been on, and they will show you how to create a path similar. But a coach then will guide you personally, and guide you through the meltdowns, the ups and the downs, and actually pull you through to the other side. And not even pull you through, but help you through. Pull you through sounds terrible.
Get through.
Pull you through sounds like a birthing with the forceps. But yeah, so I suppose I believe that you need both, because I think, yes, a mentor will show you the practical sides, but a coach will help bring out the best of you to actually get there, because that is what is required, right? So yeah, this is really interesting. And for anyone who's watching as well, guys, so what we're doing over the next couple of days is making a brand, and you can follow along here with what we're doing, so you can go and pick out your 5 words tonight and have them ready for tomorrow. And if anyone has any questions or anything like that as well, make sure you post them in the Facebook feed, and we'll get the conversation going there. Okay, so and I've been doing an awful lot of work actually the last probably 3-4 weeks. I've been doing so much homework on my own business. It's unreal. And for any of my students who watch this back, this stuff doesn't get done on its own. You have to schedule the time out to actually get it done. And, I love, like, literally there last week, I was in the middle of work, and I said, right, I need to go and sit on the couch and just think. So I literally just went and sat on the couch for half an hour and let what I was doing process. And you need that processing time.
Absolutely. I think also you need to put yourself as a priority in your business. And as much as for some people, and I know I haven't been to the gym for a week, but you need to actually schedule that time. So you need to schedule, as much as you need to schedule exercise time in your life, which is a whole subject for another day, but you need to schedule time for yourself. So what I urge people, and people who come on my program, I say to them, now, you are your own client.
Yeah.
And you have to prioritize yourself, because if you don't, like, by doing a program like this, you're actually giving up 4 hours of your very precious time to spend with me. So you need to make it work for you. And if you don't, as a business owner, if you don't prioritize yourself, and especially if you work in marketing, it's too funny. Marketers are like they're like the school teachers who don't teach their own kids, or the cobblers that don't shoe their own children. They're so busy marketing other people and helping other people with the marketing that they don't market themselves.
Yeah.
And, you're in a business, say you're in a business where you're doing a service, or you're producing a product, and the rush and hurry is all around the product, getting the product out, doing this, doing the next thing. And all of a sudden you look, your pipeline is empty, and you're not quite sure where you're going. So marketing yourself you need to almost add yourself to the client list, and prioritize yourself to do that work.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so the homework for tomorrow is the 5 words. So is there anything else you want to add?
Just the only thing I could do is, just looking at my notes of the call today, is the words that are jumping out at me from both sections are path, adventure, inspiration to an extent. Ease is a great word that you brought up. The ease of being able to move through a path. The techie side, I think, is a great extra ingredient in your chocolate. I think it's something that you need to have on the front of the bar.
And it's funny because I just take that for granted.
It's not at all. And also one of the things that you can do as well is look at your competition. Look at who's out there that's doing something. Nobody's doing exactly what you're doing, because that's the way we are. We're all unique. But look at who else is out there who is trying to go for the same space, go for the same customer, and see what it is. So I'm you go into these petrol stations and they have this bank of chocolates. What's going to make you jump out at somebody? And because so many of us work online, I'm actually doing a blog post at the moment on what to wear on Skype, because that's another part of my life. But what is it going to, what is, yes, your photograph, yes, your colors, those are going to maybe draw people, but ultimately what's going to make them engage with you and not another chocolate?
Yes. Okay.
I was probably thinking, I really need a cup of tea and a chocolate right now.
I know, yeah. Okay, so path, adventure, ease, techie.
Honesty, trustworthy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I kind of feel like, and I guess anyone who's watching this probably feels the same. I want to do it all now. I want to do it all today, but we're going to do it over a couple of days. But it's like you're reading a novel, and it's your own novel where you are, writing your own path. You're writing your own book on what you're presenting out to the world, and it's so freaking exciting. Like this is.
It is exciting.
It really is, and I think. As well, it comes at a time where we're all online now, we're all doing video, we're all finding our voice, and it's getting so super clear on what you're saying to the world about who you are, what you're doing, and your message. So I think this is a perfect timing, not just for me, but I think for a lot of people actually. So is there anything else we can cover today?
I don't think so. I think we've covered enough. I just want to say one thing before we conclude, because I'm conscious of time and how much people have put aside to spend with you and I today. This is a process that you can do more than once in your life, okay? And there's never a right or wrong time to do it. I have a client starting on Thursday who has just started her brand new business. So it's very relevant to where she is right now, okay? But I have other clients who've been in business for 10 or 15 years and then went through a branding process. And if you think of newspapers, and the New York Times is a great one to think of, because they have changed their logo many, many times, but they haven't changed their brand message.
Right. Yeah.
So as the years have gone past, if you go and Google New York Times logos, and you'll see them all come up, or various of them. We have a magazine in South Africa called The Fair Lady, and I once saw a whole thing when I was studying about how they changed their logo at the top and changed the font slightly and everything. Rebranding is a process that we do, but ultimately that core does remain the same.
Yes. Okay.
It might change slightly, things happen, but there's no right or wrong time to rebrand, other than, in my opinion, now. And it's not because this is what I do for a living, but it's just I've seen so many people take a huge leap in their business by going through a process of investing in themselves. If you sit down this morning and think, should I really do this with Kerry because I have this and this and this and this and this to do? But you've taken the time out, and you need to take another sort of little bit of time today just to do your homework. My mentor says I mustn't call it homework, I must call it action something, but I call it homework.
and for me, it's like I do a lot of clarity work with people, and like clarity is key. And like the exercises I give clients, I have actually taken the last 3-4 weeks out, and literally I have a Word document of around 40 pages done on my business, and I'm after spending 4 weeks doing, and it was so enjoyable to actually take the time out and do it. So you can't, no one else is going to do it for you.
No.
People will help you with it, but you have to, exactly like that, take time, make the investment of either time or money or both, and actually just say, right, I'm going to just really take charge, take control, take responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so I loved what we've done today. So I suppose just maybe to recap, so what we've done today is Kerry's talked about branding, what is branding, and how different brands present in chocolates, and how there's brands all around us, and subconsciously we understand them, but we've perhaps never even brought it to the consciousness that the Kit Kat is the chocolate for everyday man. It's funny, and I think that's an interesting thing, that branding is subliminal, in that when they designed Kit Kat as they did, we understand without vocalizing, without verbalizing, without consciously thinking that this is for everyone. Whereas, let's say, you know, that cocoa 70%, you might say, oh, well, that's for healthy people, or, you know. So that's really, I think I just love that our brand, even though we may not, actually, this is it, right? Even though we may not have done our work in our brand is talking for us all the time.
It is, absolutely.
Yeah, that is a really good point that I think you've brought today. Our brand is talking for us every day. So if you don't put the time into your brand, it's going to talk stuff perhaps that you don't want.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have a brand, and I think part of the homework is understanding what other people are hearing from your brand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is, yeah, I love that, Kerry. Love that. Okay. So we talked about then the different areas of a brand. So there's messaging, there's fonts, there's photos, there's content, there's brand values, there's your elevator pitch, and I'm sure there's so much more. But just to understand that your brand is not just your colors, it's everything together as a whole. So for tonight, my homework and your homework, if you do want to join in, is to write 5 words that describe my business. I also have to get a friend to give me 5 words and a client to give me 5 words. So I can't wait for tomorrow.
Not your business, you as your business.
All right, okay, you
as your business.
Well, I recapped, okay. Me as my business. Okay, and if anyone wants to get any notes from today or the next couple of days, you can go to marthafraser.com/challenge. I think that is the link. I hope that is the link. I think it is marthafraser.com/challenge, and Kerry is going to give me something. And
I haven't given it to you yet, but it'll be up before the end of the day, hopefully.
Yeah,
and I had a very busy weekend.
Yeah, and I was at a very late 15th birthday on Saturday night. I don't do late nights anymore, and I'm still recovering. So this is going to be, I'm so excited about the next couple of days.
Brilliant.
Okay, so I have to go and work my homework. I hope everyone works on their homework as well. And we're going to sign off. We're going to be back here tomorrow at 11 a.m. Same time, same channel, same fabulous women. And yeah, so sign up to marthafraser.com/challenge, and we'll send out your information to get you going on making your brand. So thanks, Kerry.
It's a pleasure, and I'll see you tomorrow at 11.
I'll see you tomorrow at 11. Okay,
Great.
thanks, everyone.
Okay.